UH Manoa's Department of Public Safety is dedicated to providing and promoting a safe and secure campus and serving our community with aloha. UH Manoa is a safe community for faculty, staff, and students. In 2017, 2 national safety organizations named UH Manoa one of the top 100 safest campuses in the country. Of course, as members of the UH Manoa community, safety is a shared responsibility. Dialing 808-956-6911 from any phone puts you in direct contact with UH Manoa Department of Public Safety Dispatch. Emergency call boxes are also located throughout campus and can be identified by their blue lights. To use an emergency call box, lift up the receiver or push the button on the phone. Even if you are unable to verbally communicate over the phone, DPS Dispatch can pinpoint the location of your call and send help immediately. Download the free UH Manoa Guardian app to connect immediately with UH Manoa Department of Public Safety in the event of an emergency. Here are a few tips DPS offers in the spirit of safety, security, and aloha. Be aware of your surroundings and walk in pairs or groups whenever possible. DPS provides free evening transportation if you have to walk alone on campus. Call our safety escort service from any location on campus 7 days a week from dusk until dawn. Be vigilant with your personal property. Always lock your doors and windows whenever you leave home, even if only for a few minutes. When you are entering and exiting student housing areas, do not prop the door open or let others into the building without their key card. Lock your bikes, mopeds, and vehicles every time you leave them. Make sure that bikes and mopeds are secured with at least one heavy lock and attached to a bike rack or other immovable object. Always park in legal parking areas. Never leave phones, laptops, or other valuables unattended, even if you are only stepping away for a few moments. Always pack these items and take them with you. If you are a student housing resident and you lose your key card, be sure to report it immediately so the old key card is deactivated. For your safety, never write your address or building name on your key card. In the event of a campus emergency, the university has a number of ways to communicate information quickly to the campus community, including text messaging, email, the UH Manoa website, and social media. Be sure to sign up for alerts at hawaii.edu/alert. DPS provides crime prevention seminars and first aid, CPR, and AED training. The Counseling and Student Development Center provides confidential mental health services to students. University Health Services Manoa provides a variety of medical services. Whether you are a student, faculty, staff, or visitor, the University of Hawaii at Manoa is a fantastic place to call your home. Let's all do our part to make our campus a safer place.
DPS is available 24/7. They do have regular patrols, so you'll see folks on bikes in their carts and then also in the vehicles. They are there for incident response, and they're able to do crime prevention, presentations, and a lot more. As mentioned in the video, and I think Officer Hiroshi last time, he was saying that you can do CPR training. They talk a lot about hurricane preparedness, active shooter. So there's various reasons or workshops that you folks can participate in so that you can feel prepared as a UH Manoa student. One of my favorite parts of DPS or one of their services is that the Escort Service. So when I was a student, I would study in Sinclair a lot, and then I'd be scared to walk back to the residence halls by myself. They're actually there to help you. Please do not call them to ask you or to ask them to bring you to 7-Eleven, because that is not a service that they do. I tried, but basically use the resources that they have to your advantage. So as mentioned, they do have various presentations, so safety and wellness, active shooter, conflict resolution, de-escalation, CPR, and hurricane preparedness. Here's their contact information, so take a picture if you want to, but basically all you have to remember is that second one, or DPS 808-956-6911, and then that second part, 956 state, is the Safety Escort Service. You can follow them on social media, and always sign up for UH alerts so you're aware of the campus, or what's going on in campus, especially if there's an emergency. And they also have a really great app, it's called the Little Guardian app, so you can learn more about that. I've been seeing that. If you have questions about DPS, I can try to answer them, but it's best to just reach out to them directly. But it's a pretty great service, so you folks are well set up. Okay, I'm actually going to transition to my real job. So hi everyone, I'm Dr. Sabrina Palevo-Uguniza. I am the Interim Director for the Office of Student Conduct, and my office is in charge of two different processes. So it's the academic grievance procedures and then the student conduct code. So basically, my office is responsible for ensuring that you folks are creating a safe and welcoming campus environment. The first part I'll just go over briefly is academic grievance procedures. All you need to remember is if you're unsatisfied with the final grade of your course, you do have a process in which that you can participate and appeal that grade. Some common complaints that we receive are due to unfair or incorrect grading by your faculty or your instructor, or that your faculty or instructor deviated from the course syllabus. We're always available to answer your questions and help you walk through that process, so please reach out to us if you have any questions. It is a lengthy process, I'll be very honest. There are 3 steps to it. So the first is just to try to resolve the issue with your faculty member. A lot of times faculty will realize, oh shoot, like I didn't miscalculate, let me just go ahead and change your grade. However, if they decide to keep the final grade that they gave you, the step 2 would be actually to go to the department chair. If the department chair decides to keep your grade what it is, then you can file a formal appeal with my office. And then just be cognizant of the actual time frames that you need to be reaching out to people. But of course, you can always reach out to our office. Just remember, there's deadlines that you have to be aware of. Burden of proof relies on the student, so you need to make sure you're providing the correct documentation to support why you deserve a grade change. All of the forms can be completed online. You're altering documentation and other types of disorderly conduct. So basically what happened, so my office receives reports from Department of Public Safety, Academic Department, and Student Housing. I'll go ahead and review the report and assess whether you did, where you could have potentially violated the student conduct code. If I find that you may have, then I'll go ahead and send you a letter indicating the specific allegation and the actual policies that I find that you are alleged to have violated. We'll schedule a meeting and I'll get to hear your side of the story and provide you the opportunity to provide witnesses and documentation or evidence. I'll go ahead and make a determination and decide whether you did or did not violate the student conduct code. If I find that you did not, then that's how, and then the end of the process, and then hopefully you never have to interact with myself or my office again. However, if I do find you responsible, then I'll go ahead and apply sanctions to you that you will be mandated to complete. Sanctions range anything from status with the university, and then there's also educational status. So one is I'll give you a warning, anything upwards of dismissal. And the educational sanctions usually include a TED Talk, and I have to write your reflection paper, have you journal or goal setting for yourself for this upcoming academic year. Anything that I find that you'll benefit from and learn from the situation. But ultimately, all you need to know is if you violate the student conduct code and I find you responsible, it will result in a permanent disciplinary record with the university. This is our contact information. We are located in the Queen Lulu Center, room 207. You can email us, you can call us, and you can visit our website. We are a 2-person office, and so you can stop by, whatever. If you have questions, we're happy to answer any of your questions or anything like that. Any questions before I step out? Cool, thank you so much. It's so proud.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul Bressingham. I'm a case manager at the Office of Title IX. We'll do a quick training with you all. So we're going to go over some federal and state laws that apply to Title IX, our university policy, which is an executive policy, interim executive policy 1.204, and then discuss resources available to you on and off campus. Our office is located in White Hall 112, which is the building right over there on the Barney Circle with the pillars in front. Our office is located in the basement when you enter the building. Our phone number is there, and our email is t9uhn@hawaii.edu. D1 is our director and Title IX coordinator, so she's responsible for assessing all complaints that come into our office to see if they fall under our university policy. Myself and Jennifer Fontaine are case managers, and Jessica kind of serves our operations coordinator. So if you do come to our office, call or email Jen, Jessica, or myself, and the people who you interact with. Along with our office, we also have deputy Title IX coordinators located around our campus. They help us with filling our duties in specific areas. So any athletes in the room? Student athletes? No? Oh, yeah, okay. You perhaps you're a student athlete. We have Amanda Patterson down in athletics. She works with compliance. So students work with Amanda specifically in athletics about complaints. How many living in student housing? Is that coming here? Probably, yeah. We have Karen Blakely in student housing. Karen Blakely can take reports. I don't think we have any grad students. We have Julie Maeda for grad division, Nicholas Marker Jackson, Trisha for law school, and then Tammy works with our employees. But most of you, Amanda or Karen, or our office, your direct contact. So our office oversees all complaints of sex discrimination and or gender-based violence for students, faculty, and staff on campus. We address these complaints through what we call supportive measures, which are put in place on a temporary basis to assist students with continuing their education without fear of discrimination or harassment continuing. There can be many different types of supportive measures. It's not like a checklist. We kind of look to see what will best fit the situation. So that might be an academic schedule change, living arrangement change from the residence halls. But our most common supportive measure is a no contact order, in which we direct both parties, which would be two students, a student and an employee, to not have any further contact with each other. This is different than a restraining order, and there's no space restriction between the parties. It is completely a verbal no contact order. We also do have an informal resolution and a formal investigation process. Filing a report with our office or receiving a report in our office does not automatically trigger a formal investigation. It really up to the students on how they want to proceed through our process. We do have those options. Our office is neutral, which means we do not advocate for any students that come to our office. We need to make sure that our policies and procedures are followed, but we do have advocates on our campus that are confidential and can work with students through our process. Anyone know who this is? She looks like a senator. Okay, close. Congresswoman. Anyone from Hawaii in here? This is Patsy T. Mink, former congresswoman from Hawaii. She was a UH 101 student. She studied zoology and chemistry. Wanted to become a doctor. At that time, there were not a lot of women in the medical field. Patsy was not accepted to any medical school she applied to. Eventually went to law school, and had a really hard time getting a job as a lawyer. She eventually ran for Congress, became the first Asian American woman in Congress, and she co-authored Title IX, which in part reads, no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or subject to discrimination under any education or activity receiving federal financial assistance. So the University of Hawaii, all institutions of higher education pretty much need to comply with the regulations under Title IX. Our students receive financial aid, our researchers receive grants, and so we need to comply with policy. Our university policy is split up into two specifics, so interim executive policy 1.204 and executive policy 1.202. You do not need to memorize or know those at all, but these are the specific prohibited behaviors and key terms that are outlined in those policies. So our office would handle complaints involving sexual harassment, sexual assault, domestic and dating violence, and stalking. We would look at complaints that involve retaliation when it involves one of these specific prohibited behaviors and filing a complaint. Our policy also provides a definition of our campus uses for consent and incapacitation. And then the other policy would handle sex discrimination, another definition for sexual harassment, and gender-based harassment. I don't have enough time to go into full depth of all of these specific behaviors or things, but our office handles complaints, sex discrimination or gender-based harassment or violence against students, faculty, and staff on campus. We are going to watch a quick little video on consent. We hope it plays.
If you're still struggling with consent, just imagine instead of initiating sex, you're making them a cup of tea. You say, hey, would you like a cup of tea? And they go, oh my God, I would love a cup of tea. Thank you. Then you know they want a cup of tea. If you say, hey, would you like a cup of tea? And they're like, I'm not really sure. Then you can make them a cup of tea, or not, but be aware they might not drink it. And if they don't drink it, then, and this is the important part, don't make them drink it. Just because you made it doesn't mean you are entitled to watch them drink it. And if they say no thank you, then don't make them tea at all. Just don't make them tea. Don't make them drink tea. Don't get annoyed at them for not wanting tea. They just don't want tea, okay? They might say, yes please, that's kind of it. And then when the tea arrives, they actually don't want the tea at all. Sure, that's kind of annoying as you've gone to all the effort of making the tea. But they remain under no obligation to drink the tea. They did want tea, now they don't. Some people change their mind in the time that it takes to boil the kettle, brew the tea, and everything. And it's okay for people to change their mind. And you are still not entitled to watch them drink it. And if they're unconscious, don't make them tea. Unconscious people don't want tea. And they can't answer the question, do you want tea? Because they're unconscious. Okay, maybe they were conscious when you asked them if they want tea. And they said yes. But in the time it took you to boil the kettle, brew the tea, and add the milk, they are now unconscious. You should just put the tea down. Make sure the unconscious person is safe. And this is the important part again. Don't make them drink the tea. They said yes then, sure, but unconscious people don't want tea. If someone said yes to tea, started drinking it, and then passed out before they finished it, don't keep on pouring it down their throat. Take the tea away. Make sure they're safe, because unconscious people don't want tea. Trust me on this. If someone said yes to tea around your house last Saturday, that doesn't mean they want you to make them tea all the time. They don't want you to come around to their place unexpectedly and make them tea and force them to drink it, going, but you wanted tea last week. Or to wake up to find you pouring tea down their throat, going, but you wanted tea last night. But you can understand how completely ludicrous it is to force people to have tea when they don't want tea. And you're able to understand when people don't want tea. Then how hard is it to understand it when it comes to sex? Whether it's tea or sex, consent is everything. And on that note, I'm going to go make myself a cup of tea.
So we specifically highlight consent here because in all cases of sexual violence, we're looking to see if consent was provided for any sexual activity that occurred. Consent is an affirmative yes, whatever that sexual activity is. It can be taken and given at any time. It needs to be consistently given, which means it can be given for one form of sexual activity. It needs to be given for the next form of sexual activity that occurs after that as well. This also exists between two intimate partners who are in a committed relationship. Consent still needs to be given for sexual activity in that relationship. So there are three options for filing a report. The first option would be to file a complaint using our institution grievance policy, interim EP 144, which our office would address and handle. You can also file a complaint with the Office of Civil Rights, which is at the federal level, or you can file a lawsuit locally with HPD through the state attorney's office. The only thing is that our office cannot provide support when filing with OCR or through the local authorities. We do have advocates on campus that can assist you through that process, but we can only oversee our university institution policy. And that's because our office is neutral, so we have to only work within our university policy. The parties have the option to do all of these options, none of these options, two of them at the same time, is completely up to the parties. All university-wide faculty members are designated as responsible employees, which means they shall report all information they receive related to a Title IX related incident to our office. Which means if you talk to your faculty members about something that you've experienced or that you've witnessed, they are required to report that to our office. And the reason they are is because that's what we call creates notice for the university. And so we must provide students with resources and their options on our campus. If students choose not to use those resources or go through those options, that's completely up to them. They do drive our process, but we need to make sure they receive those resources and options. For those of you living on campus, this would also include your RAs and your resident assistants. They are required to report anything that you share with them. Any of you that are peer mentor through our Escort Mentor program, they are also required to report anything. Most individuals you interact with, GAs, TAs, RAs, professionals, are all designated responsible employees who will need to report and share with them. They're not sharing to get you in trouble or to share without your consent. They're more so trying to make sure you do get the resources that are available to you on our campus that you can utilize them. Speaking of some confidential resources, we do have Jamie Novello, which is going to come up in a little bit, so I'm not going to spend too much time on her, but she is one of our confidential advocates. We also do have Leslie Cabana with our UH Confidential Advocacy Program at the system level. The Counseling and Student Development Center is a confidential resource on campus. As students who are all able to use that resource for free, I highly recommend it. They do not specialize in sex or gender-based issues, but they are great confidential resources on our campus. The Department of Public Safety, who we've heard a lot about recently, they are not confidential. Anything they do take in, they do need to provide those supports to our office or like to Sabrina for student conduct. And then we also have respondent support. His name is Christopher Yanuaria. He works through the Child Violence Program, and he works with those who are accused of violating university policies, specifically under Title IX. He works with a process advisor to help them understand their rights and responsibilities. We have two great community resources, the Sex Abuse Treatment Center and the Domestic Violence Action Center. They are within our community outside of campus. They do provide advocacy and support for students. They have a 24-hour hotline so students or community members can contact them to get support. They are not trained specifically in our university policies as they do work with the community, but we can definitely work with them if there's someone that you find yourself wanting to work with as well, and they're a great resource. We have some time for a few questions. Anybody has any? You can also ask yourself at the end, but also to pass it over to Jamie.
And then we're at the afternoon, so I get it. I was in your seats literally at one point. So I'll try to make this quick, and then they make good time. If I make good time, then you guys can get out a little earlier and get a drink and use the rest of the money. You have one more session? Yeah, so almost there, don't worry. We're just training you for what's to come this year, so get used to it. Again, so my name is Jamie Zavala. I am the confidential Manoa advocate here at the Manoa campus. As I mentioned, I literally was in your seat at one time. As an undergrad, when I was much younger, much senior, but you know, that was me. As an undergrad, I sat where you sat. I came here and I got my bachelor's in psychology from the University of Hawaii Manoa. I had a great experience. I really hope you folks have a good experience and take advantage of all the opportunities that we have on the campus. I even, I worked in the Hawaii Aloha Towers. I did the whole, football games and full-time class schedule worked. And I also took advantage of their study abroad program. So if any of you guys get to that point, I really hope, you take advantage of that. It's super fun. I really hope that you folks can have that full college experience here. And one of the things that we do prioritize greatly on this campus is safety. So I know you learned a little bit about DPS, Title IX, Office of Student Conduct. In particular, my office as the confidential advocate, I'm a confidential resource for individuals who might be experiencing any Title IX related incident. So again, that's sex or gender-based misconduct, which could include discrimination harassment, sex assault, dating and domestic violence, stalking, and retaliation. As Paul had mentioned earlier, most of the employees you see on campus, which will be like your faculty members, your instructors, your tutors, your TAs, they are responsible employees. So if you or a friend might have experienced a Title IX incident and you're not wanting to trigger a automatic report to Title IX just yet, please come and seek me out because I am one of the few confidential resources. The limits of my confidentiality, as you can see here, so that means what I can't keep confidential are just situations where I'm still mandated reported by the state. So if anyone lets me know that there's abuse or neglect of a minor or a vulnerable adult means somebody who can't make decisions for themselves. And in cases of intent harm to self or others. So if you say I'm going to harm myself or I'm trying to harm others, I will have to step outside of the confidentiality just to make sure everyone is safe. Other confidential resources, briefly reviewed by Paul as well, is the counselors at the CSDC, Counseling Student Development Center, the doctors and nurses at Health Services. And if you remember, there was another woman on his confidential resource slide. Her name is Leslie. The difference between Leslie and I, we do the same job. I'm just located here at UH1. And Leslie serves other campuses, so she kind of floats around. So she might be there for backup if I'm, for some reason, I'm not available. Okay. When you come to my office, there's various things we do, from risk assessment to safety planning, support for what is going on in your situation, of course advocacy. What that means is that I also let you know a lot about, reminding you about the Title IX options, and the rights that you have through Title IX or other reporting offices. I can also help you through that process if you have any nervousness about approaching Title IX or making a formal report. And then, of course, I also do referrals to both on and off campus resources. As long as you're a student or faculty or staff here, I definitely can serve you. It doesn't matter who the alleged respondent is, so whoever you're alleging did no harm to you. It could be a student, it could be a staff member, or it could just be somebody in the community that you met on the weekend. Still, feel free to let me know and we can figure out what options are available to you. And again, the main part of my position, other than the support, is just to supply you with the options. I'm sure, like I said, this is late in the afternoon. You're not going to remember everything Paul said. He doesn't expect you to remember everything that he said. And if you have questions, you can always come to my office and just ask, hey, what can I do? What can I do on campus as well as off campus if I experience a Title IX related incident? This is my contact information. You can feel free to go ahead and just take a picture of it. I am a one-woman show at the moment, so I do ask that if you want an appointment, please go ahead and email or call me just to set that up. I do same-day appointments. It's just kind of first come, first serve. Okay. Any questions about my particular role? No? Okay. We have one more here, so I'm going to be presenting for my colleague Chris Yanawaria. Okay. Does everyone know what POW means? I see some nods. Okay, raise your hand if you do know what it means. Raise your hand if you're like, oh, I've never heard of that before. Or yeah, so POW, so in Hawaii, Hawaii, POW really means to end or to finish. So POW violence, this program here, the acronym is the POW, P-A-U, the Prevention, Awareness, and Understanding of Violence Program. It really is to address and to end and prevent gender-based violence on campus. So it's kind of a fun little fun of the words there. But this program really focuses on the prevention and education side of any gender-based violence on campus. So while, me as an advocate, I do a lot of the direct services and support for the students. Chris and his program for power violence, they really take on a lot more activities, kind of broader range, a lot of the education. You might have them come to your class and talk. And a lot of times, me and Chris also partner quite a bit, so you might see us together in doing some of the prevention work on campus. So again, just in terms of the violence prevention education, they do offer domestic and dating violence education, sex assault, stalking, bystander intervention, as well as education on healthy relationships. Some of the events that they had in the past, so this is pre-COVID, and when the campus was robust, you folks will be coming back at, I think for 90%. So we're hoping to get it back to this. Some of the awareness events that we had in the past, range from they had walks, they had fairs, they had all kinds of awareness events, displays on campus where students were able to be a part of as volunteers or participants. During the pandemic, we kind of had to switch gears a bit. There was a lot of virtual slash in person. We kind of mixed it up. Last year we kind of did a little bit of both. So we did have a fair for Sex Assault Awareness Month. That's the Road to Reconnection. But they also did a virtual kind of vigil the year prior. So this year we're hoping to do a little mixture of both, as we understand some people are still not comfortable coming to campus, as well as there's many of you who are already here and back. So we're going to try to, kind of gauge the safety of the students and whatever the health conditions are at the time, what's happening in Hawaii, to kind of do our events. Okay, so this is Chris Honoria. So that's the program coordinator for POW, and he's also the respondent support that Paul talked about earlier. This is a new group that he just wanted me to share to all of you. It's called Po Kanaka. It is really a group for males who want to talk about healthy masculinity in a safe space. So this is run by Chris. Kate Lindsay is actually, he's the confidential advocate, so he's kind of my role for UH2O. And they have a grad student, I believe, an MSW candidate, who is helping them with this group. So if anyone is interested, just keep this group in mind. It's completely new and they're trying to get it ramped up. If you're interested, you can go ahead and email Chris. You can use the UHM POW or his personal email right down there, CY9. If you want to get involved with either POW violence or his new group, that's fine as well. Just go ahead and take a picture of that or add POW violence on Instagram. Okay? Any questions? So I think we are ending a little early.
Do folks have questions?
Are there any questions about any of the presentations? Or we can stick around too and answer any questions you may have that you don't want to ask the whole group. It's okay if you don't have questions.
Do you have questions that are not related to the presentation? Are you folks okay?
One more session.
When you're released, go to the restroom and then get ready for the next session.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Yeah, welcome to UH.